like everything has, I don't know, there's always a silver. I truly believe there's a silver lining, or I choose to look at things that way. And when you do, like my motto is everything always works out for me. Everything always works out for me. And people can go, well, what if such and all these bad things? And it's not that. It's the idea that like even when something doesn't go the way you think it's supposed to, what if that is working out for you?
Welcome to the Funny in Failure podcast, a podcast that celebrates failure and shines the light on the emotional side of comedy, with yours truly, Michael Kahan.
Howdy, howdy, howdy. Wow, today's chat blew my mind. Mircea is such a light soul. She's fun, playful, and open. This was such an inspiring and fun chat for me. I love how Mircea looks within, tries new things, shifts old mindsets, and is constantly checking in to live her best life. This is a rare trait and one I love and admire. I love how she prioritizes creativity, fun, and play. We all need this. Some brilliant insights in this chat. Okay, cool. Let's get into it. Mircea Monroe is an actor who's perhaps best known for her standout series regular roles as Morning in Showtime's critically acclaimed comedy episodes, created by David Crane and Jeffrey Klarik, and starring opposite Matt LeBlanc for 5 seasons. She also starred as Tansy Truitt on the CW's Heart of DIXIE and was a series regular on TV Land's IMPASTOR opposite Michael Rosenbaum. Most recently, Mircea appeared in a recurring role on The Rookie with Nathan Fillion, Dinner with the Parents, as well as the series The Outlaws. Her feature film credits include The Change-Up opposite Ryan Reynolds, Magic Mike with Channing Tatum, and Book Club opposite Jane Fonda, Diane Keaton, and Andy Garcia. Across her career, she has starred in numerous network pilots and has appeared in a wide range of television and film projects, excelling in both comedic roles and shows including Scrubs and How I Met Your Mother, as well as dramatic performances, Sons of Anarchy, and Madso's War, directed by Walter Hill. So as you can imagine, we dive deep and we cover a lot. And we chat about creativity for creativity's sake. Whose line is it anyway? Spirituality, creative shifts, being in 10 plus shows that don't go ahead, rejection, doing stand-up, validation, visualization, trying new things, moving beyond fear, plus plenty more. Before we get into this epic chat, in case you aren't aware, the videos are now available on YouTube under Michael Kahan. That's Kahan with a K, unless you're listening to it already. I'll still be posting snippets of these chats on Instagram under Funny in Failure, so check them out if you want to stay in the loop for upcoming episodes, or you want to ask a guest a question. I'd also love it if you would share the podcast or share your takeaways from the chat. It really motivates me, helps the podcast grow, and ensures I can lock in amazing guests like this one. And just as a final reminder, the podcast comes out at 3:30 Melbourne, Australian time, with the full video of the podcast to be released the following day. Okay, cool. Thank you. Let's get into it. I just saw, it may have been a little while ago, you're on Whose Line Is It Anyway? And that looked like a lot of fun. Can you tell me about that? I love that show.
Oh gosh, it's re-airing, so maybe that's why you saw it. It was a little while ago. I'm pretty sure it's re-airing, hence you seeing it. But oh my goodness, it was so fun, and they're incredibly talented. Coincidentally, I just saw. Let me just. Oh, there was something came up on the screen. The Dan Patterson, who created it, lives not far from me, which is just a wonderful coincidence in London. But with that, one of the best things about it is they really set you up for success. So you have such a good team around you that you cannot fail. Like they always make you look great. They make you look really smart and really funny no matter what. So you feel incredibly safe, even though it's, a live audience in improv. It is sort of the easiest form of improv because they do all the heavy lifting, quite honestly.
That's quite rare, and I'm sure you've seen in entertainment space and even life where, we all want to shine and sometimes it's at the expense of a partner or something. So to have that, did you just feel like you could do anything? Like, did you just feel, what was that like feeling like, knowing that you're safe and protected?
They were really kind. And I knew the show. I loved the show already. I knew how incredibly talented they were. And to have everyone be so warm and to also kind of walk you through it and know that, I mean, they don't tell you what the games are or
Yeah.
anything. There's no like cheating in that way, but to know that you're going to be fine. And it's just a fun way. And you know, it's sort of unfair because then you as a guest get a lot of the credit that is definitely not deserved. Like they do all of they've built the house, you just step out the front door.
What was I've had actually three of the guests, but I think in your episode I had Colin Mockery, and I'm not sure if Gary Anthony Williams was in that one. I could be wrong. But what's it like with the crowd? Because I've done a little bit of improv, you've done a little bit of improv. I can't compare them whatsoever. Is the crowd electric? Like, what does that feel like?
They're loving it because I think they're choosing to be there. You know, they've come for that reason. So they for the most part, I would say the crowd loves comedy, they love improv, they love the show. So it's just the warmest. It's like, I don't know, singing for your parents. I mean, it's just so cuddly wonderful.
Singing for my mum is the
Well, depending who your
nicest,
parents are.
kindest person. The only mean thing she's ever said to me was, "Don't sing. You're not a good singer." So, but
Oh no, bad analogy, bad analogy.
I appreciate. I'm going to tell her that after this. That's hilarious.
I have
And-
terrible references as a rule.
A great reference.
Or analogies.
I agree. I disagree. And you've also done a bit of improv training, I believe, when you were first starting out as well. What led you to that?
I always have loved different ways to sort of work my brain and challenge it and get more comfortable on stage, get more comfortable. You know, I think it helps as a writer. I think it helps in every aspect of your life. So I, you know, took various classes, did a few shows, things like that. I was never in anywhere close to sort of some of these incredible people who I really, really admire. But for me, it was just a great way to learn.
That's rare. A lot of people, when they're scared of something, and I know you did stand up because you feared it.
Yeah.
So rare. When people are scared of something, they run the other way. So you just put your hand up and were like, you know what, this scares me. I'm just going to give it a go. Was like, tell me your secrets. That's so rare.
Yeah, I feel like it's so important to do in general and in life and like move through that fear if you can with like the right tools and the right support, whatever that is. But yeah, definitely, especially when the end goal, if there's something that can help with an end goal, even if that specific thing, you know, even if my goal wasn't to be, you know, I don't know, on SNL or something like that, it still can help ultimately, or just to be, you know, quicker on your feet, all those things. But maybe it was less of a pressure for me because it wasn't necessarily the specific field I wanted to go into. So I think maybe I had a little bit more freedom around it.
Do you remember the specifics around doing stand-up, or was it for the growth, the learning, it scared you, giving it a go?
Yeah, I loved watching it. I loved being around it. I loved dating people who did it. I loved it. I loved it. So I loved the world so much. And again, yeah, it was one of those things. Some of it I would just go to open mics and kind of do it myself. But then I also took some classes, which specifically with Lisa Sunstedt, who is an amazing woman, and she really helps guide. You know, she helps with prompts in the same way you might want a writing prompt to sort of start writing. She helps with sort of fundamentals, and I know there are various forms of opinion on, you know, can certain things be learned and all of that. But again, like having to be on your feet, you know, come up with stories, write, you know, then perform was really invaluable for me. I learned so much. I loved a lot of aspects of it.
Would you
Also
ever
more.
would you ever go back? Have you gone back?
I would love to. So I'm not interested in stand up, but I'm more for my own self. I mean, I absolutely love the world. I'd like to combine, like right now I'm working on a one woman show that I think would take some of those skills, but it sort of mixes various things I've done in my career into one place. So I think hopefully having done that will be part of the foundation for this show. Well, let's see how it goes.
Definitely. Can you tell me more about that? Because I don't think that's something that you've done too much of. And so to do it now, that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I didn't even really mean to talk about it because it's not done. I'm just putting it together.
It's amazing still.
Oh, I'd love to. So have you been to Fringe?
Uh,
Edinburgh Fringe
no, but I've
in
had like at least 20 guests that have gone there. I know, did
yeah.
it just finished or it's still going or?
Yeah, it's the month of August,
Yep.
so now, or ending now. But so from my, first of all, it's the most incredible. If any of your listeners, I know it could be quite a journey depending on where people are, but it is such a concentration of talent. There's shows in, bars and on the side of, and street performers and in basements of places and in apartments. And and it's not just comedy. There's all kinds. There's shows for kids. But it's, I've been going now every year. I didn't go this year, but prior to that, I try to go every year, and it's so incredibly inspiring. But the show I want to do is sort of that. It's a much smaller, not necessarily lucrative,
Yep.
piece of work, but just something creative. And yeah, still kind of figuring out what it is, but definitely I think something that I may want to do. Now that I've said it out loud, I feel like I have to follow
You
through.
have to. It's a done deal.
I'm regretting it a little bit already.
No regrets.
I'm sweating
I'm
now.
gonna keep on challenging you on that. We have the Melbourne International Comedy Festival. It's not even the same as Edinburgh, but that's huge where we are. It's probably the biggest in Australia, but maybe one of the biggest in the world as well. And for that small period, we get artists all around the world, and it's electric. You can like feel it, even though they're so far spaced out. I think Edinburgh is probably more. The venues are probably closer to each other, but it is a magnificent time, and you see so many unbelievable performers. And as you said, not all of them are stand up. Like we've
I was going to ask, what sort of are examples of some of the shows?
mostly stand up, but I've
Mostly
seen
stand-up, okay.
like I would assume 95% plus the stand up. But then you'd still have like, one woman shows, hypnotists.
Yeah.
The one guy I had on the podcast, he does shit. Like he's a shit magician. So like doing tricks that don't work, like all types, anything like kind of in the comedy space. There's no real rules.
Yeah.
I know that
Yeah.
Edinburgh does it on steroids, but that's so exciting. I'll go to Edinburgh to see your show because you've already put it out there to the world.
Okay, amazing. And without me, I just think you should go. I think that, if this is your world and your interest, it's I just can't say enough. It's so fantastic.
I've got so many more. I know that you're still, deciding on how it will go. So I know that's not like quite there, but that's still very exciting to me. What has sparked that interest for you? What has like lit you up where you're like, I need to do this?
I think for me, it's a variety of things. It's sort of where I'm at in my life and my career, the things that I've learned, wanting to sort of make sense of where I'm at and what I've done, and sort of a reflection on that, and use everything that I've learned in one place, have autonomy, have creative control. It feels like a potential way for me to use my skill sets, all of them in one place, if I can get do it right.
There's no right. Have you ever heard of maybe if it's a stand-up comedian working on the same bit for years, there's no such thing as right.
Oh yeah.
But I mean,
Well, what I mean, right for me, like right, I want to decide what sort of the objective is and meet that for my own self. So yeah, right's not the right word, but true to the thing that I'm trying to accomplish, which I still can't quite define. It's very, very early.
Yeah, no, that's great. That excites me because a lot of people, they talk about it and no, they're too scared to talk about it. It's in their head, but actually just speaking it out, whether it's to me or whoever, that, that gets out. That's the next stage moving forward. So I think that's very exciting. I look forward to.
Oh.
And going back to when you were doing stand-up, did you have aspirations to go further with it, or was it more, as we said, the learning, the growth, the challenging and stuff like that?
I think it sort of quickly became something I was doing. I think, like anything, when you're putting all your focus somewhere, it starts to grow, which is great. At the time, I was working a ton and traveling a ton for work, and for decades was doing that. So I found it a bit tricky. It was short-lived, and then my focus sort of shifted to, well, just quite frankly, because the hours on set, are so long, and I was traveling a ton. So I felt like I kind of, I don't think I had aspirations to continue and grow it. It was really fun. I learned a ton, and then it was an organic process into just focusing more on acting, as opposed to I don't remember making a decision of stopping. It just sort of happened.
Life happened. And you alluded to, and you can go as deep as you want, or we can shift. You mentioned that there's kind of been a shift of where you are in life, meaning that you're doing this. What does that mean?
I think creatively, I think that I'm learning for a long time. It was a business, more about survival, hustle, all of those sorts of things. And more recently, meaning, I don't know, the last few years, and as I age, it's what I want is shifting, who I've become, all the things I've learned. And I think I'm reflecting a lot of what it looks like now and what creativity, being satiated in that way feels like, as opposed to maybe what I was supposed to do in the past, or what it looked like, or just, needs having changed, having to pay bills or whatever, that kind of thing. Being on the hamster wheel, all of that, and just wanting different things now.
That's amazing because, as you said, we all think we're supposed to go in a certain direction or we have to be a certain way. But then realizing that we can shift that, that's also can be really hard mentally to even ask that because, we may have been going one way our whole life and then, that's kind of familiar. But to kind of like steer yourself in another direction, that's pretty exciting. I'm sure it's daunting. Where are we with that? Because I can see you smiling about it.
Well, I just think, well, first of all, you have such a lovely, encouraging energy. You're so warm. That's why I was smiling, is you just have such a calming presence. So it's really lovely. But
I'll tell my wife that. I'm not sure she agrees.
Listen, I don't know what it's like being married to you, but doing a podcast,
worst.
5 stars. I think when you look into why you're doing something, for any reason, but let's say career-wise or job-wise, for me, my reasoning has shifted, and that's changed the kind of work I want to do. So, whereas I would say maybe in my early 20s, I got a lot of self-esteem and validation from my work, or felt the need, that was a driving force and a big part of my ambition, and wanting to succeed at, well, my definition of success in that context, or, wanting to just be really, really successful within that field. And I am, very ambitious and incredibly driven, and I work really, really hard. And with accomplishing those things, which felt fantastic, it allowed me the stability to then step back and reflect on the reasons why, and how in changing those, it might change some of my work. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Is that articulate at all?
Yeah.
So I no longer needed, well, quite frankly, I no longer really needed or need the attention I used to. And so it's coming from a pure place.
Okay, pure place. I know that you're a spiritual lady. How did we get there? I know you mentioned just like with life and potentially age, but there's more to it than this. You've obviously done a lot of work on yourself. I know you've spoken about like meditation and you've done a lot of healing stuff along the way, but why now? Is it just like after all the work that you've done, you realize, I'm ready to step into the next chapter in my life, the next, what is it?
I don't know which came first, like chicken or the egg, but I think in gaining stability, not just financially, but within myself, with the relationship I'm in, sort of everything, coming from a place of calm and being able to reflect on that, and just growing as a person. So, not needing to, I don't know, be at a party and say what movie I was in, even if I was in one, you know what I mean? And starting to be more aware of that shift, and not needing the approval. And it is so profoundly freeing, and not needing to be seen in that same way, like not so hungry to be seen and noticed. And oh my God, it feels so good.
Oh, okay.
And now come back from that place. You know what I mean? Like now I feel like I'm coming back. I went back to school during COVID, and
School
for writing. So I went to Cambridge and took a writing, did creative writing.
Nice.
And just different things like that, and just I approached it. I didn't want to I wanted to see what it felt like to not commodify creativity, which I had done since I was like 18.
Yep.
So everything was about making money. Not that it wasn't fun and great and creative, but I wanted to step back and just write a poem and, do something where it wasn't always about how can I monetize this after, which makes it sound like everything I did was from the wrong place, which isn't the case.
No,
But
definitely not. You're just saying you're not putting any of the pressure. You're just doing something for yourself. No, no pressure. Just fully.
paint a watercolor, whatever it is. And then now I feel like the pendulum sort of went to the other extreme. And now I feel like I'm putting them both back together, which feels like the most exciting place to come from with work, where it's not, I don't even love the word work because I love it so much. I love being on set. So I don't know, that's tricky wording for me, but just learning to sort of meld them together, but from as pure a place as possible, which I don't think I came from initially.
No one
Quite
does.
frankly.
And in terms of play and fun, are you able to let go a little bit? Not saying that you weren't before, but are you able to, allow for more play, fun, and the creativity when you're doing all of these now?
I think I need more in my life. Like when I was young, I mean, I think part of it's like, you have roommates, so you're making videos and doing silly things. You don't have, life and spouses and kids and whatever. So that starts to shift. And I think that I want a lot more of that. And I'm actively seeking it out. So in whatever ways that is, whether it's, last weekend I took a 1-day writing class about, that was about the city of London and using that as inspiration. And there's like 17 of us. Yeah, it was so fun. Anyone who's spending their Sunday and spending money to like learn and also create in whatever form is absolutely thrilling. It's so thrilling. People from all walks of life, all jobs. And I do that kind of stuff, pretty frequently.
And do you find that refreshing mentally? Because I'm sure when you first started, everything was about acting, or I'm doing an acting course for acting. Here, you're doing it for you, which might help your acting and your writing, but you're doing it for different reasons.
Or for your heart, just things for your heart, things for your soul, whatever that is for you, or I don't know, a sound bath, which I did on Sunday, or all
okay,
these
speaking
things.
my language. Yeah.
Oh,
Keep
love
going.
them vibrations. Oh my
Yeah.
God. But I think everything feeds everything else, being a whole person. Whereas in the past, I definitely was very streamlined, and I don't think I fully understood the value of being more whole. And if my energy wasn't on just achieving that thing I needed to achieve, I felt like it was a waste of time. And now I'm learning that like it's okay to take the space and enjoy life, and that actually feeds it. A bit late to that party, to that.
No, I think you're early. I don't know anyone that's very profound. I feel like I'm 3% in my journey learning that. That's very important because often we think whatever we do has to help the career, especially in creativity. But also to ask yourself, how does this feed my soul? People don't ever think like that. That's only been something that's come into my life recently. But if I ask, some of my friends, like, what do you mean? I've got work, I've got this. Like, it's not even a question we allow ourselves to ask. But you actually,
it's a bit of a luxury, I think, in that, when people are trying to make ends meet, and and even, let's say you're in a job you don't like, or even if you like it, but it takes a lot of time, then you have to give, if you have a partner, you give time to that, again, your family, whatever it is. I understand that time is a massive luxury, but I would say that even when I, live below the poverty level, there is still energy you can put into yourself in ways that will feed you that don't have to cost money.
I agree.
I really stand by that, and I have lived it. Like I haven't, so because I've lived it, I feel like I'm allowed to say it. I'm not sitting here in a castle going, no, leisure, it's wonderful. Why don't you ride your horse more?
Yeah.
It's like, no, I've been there. I know what that is, but I also know that you can make a vision board with pictures on magazines you can get for free, or whatever, things that will excite you and feed you.
I agree. And I'm going to say it from my high horse. There's always time. We always make excuses. I'm a prime example of this, whether it's going to a free art gallery, which for some reason I'm doing more often. I'm not even like an artsy person. Anything that you can kind of find inspires you. I can't believe I'm talking about this, but I've been noticing more, on my walks, not being on my phone as much, and even looking at trees that I'm so embarrassed saying this, but when I see like a cool looking tree, sometimes that inspires me. I'm like, what is
Of course it
happening
does. That's not something to be embarrassed about. That is connection.
Yep.
That is
But yeah.
connection to the things around you in presence. It's incredible.
Yeah, I
I
know.
mean,
I
there's
never thought.
literal like forest bathing classes, which
Oh,
is, I don't know. I think you just like walk around the forest, but called forest bathing, where that's what you're doing. But you didn't even pay to see that tree.
exactly. But I was also the type of person that didn't like to. No, I like to spend time in nature, and then I inverted commas became an adult, and then I avoided all of that stuff because like, what's the point? And now I'm like, get me out of here. I need to be next to not necessarily a tree, but I want to
Touch
just look at
grass.
things that are yeah. But
Yeah, it's huge. It's so important. I live near a park here in London and urban living, but it's to just be able to have the green it's so huge and some birds and some squirrels and it's so good.
oh, yes. We, in our house, even though we're still in the city, we've created a space where it feels like no one's around us. Just we put like greenery around. And I
Oh,
actually,
yeah.
and I meditate like by the front of the window. And even though it's a
Oh,
wall, but it's green, but it seems to have changed something for me, like mentally,
yeah,
where I just feel like I'm more free, if that makes
of
sense. Like
course.
small little hacks. And that's how I've reached enlightenment is just purely through that.
Yeah, it's tiny. It's little things each day or little changes to your to your surroundings, to your habits, whatever. Oh, of course. I mean, I don't mean to sound in any way preachy, like whatever. I've got
Oh,
so,
I
so
am.
much to figure out, but
I've embraced it. You do you, but I know, and you're not, by the way. But and then you mentioned vision boards. So is that something that you've
Mm.
been aware of your whole life? How have you shifted that? How did you come to it?
Oh, I need to make one. I haven't done it in so long. I'm a big advocate. I think it's super fun. And I haven't done it forever, but I realized recently that I had achieved everything I had put on there. And it might not be
Cool.
in the exact way, but in some form. And then I was like, oh, it's time to redo this. It's time to make another one and maybe even a little vision board party, have some girlfriends over,
Oh,
get the magazines out.
yep. Love
So
it.
yeah, I haven't done it in a while, but whether it's that or just I'm a big advocate of visualizing the things that would feel good. I think the thing that gets tricky, like oh gosh, what's the book on it? I just totally blanked, but it was slightly more materialistic, and I find I'd like one that's more about how you want to feel.
Yep.
So, for example, like before I met my partner, instead of thinking like, oh, I want, I don't know, whatever, tall, dark, and handsome, or I don't know, whatever cliche, or I want a doctor or whatever. I just kept thinking about how I want to feel with this person. I want to feel unconditional love. I want to feel supported. I want them to feel supported. I want all of those things of how I wanted to feel within it. And I think that prepared me so that I knew the person when I met them exactly because it was that feeling as opposed to, oh, they don't tick this box or live in this place or I don't know, whatever people might be putting on their list of what they think they want in a partner. I think, how do you want to feel?
I think that's so important. And I know some people think like manifestation is ridiculous, but it's actually not because even from like and I'm all for it, even from like a scientific perspective, whatever you spend your time thinking about, that's kind of what your life becomes. So whatever you focus on, I forget what the quote is, what you focus on is what your life. But anyway, so if you're focusing on how you feel, that
Mm,
changes things. Instead of saying, as you said, I want a partner that's tall or dark, that doesn't mean anything to you. But if you're putting this time and energy into your brain of the feeling aspect, I feel like I'm not wording this very well, but I feel like it propels you forward. So whenever I've
mm,
like worked with people, let's say writing wise, I do screenwriting, and I just said I want someone that's good, and I haven't put any feeling to it. I've always found the
mm,
wrong people. But then when I've actually felt, how does it feel to write this script, and then what does it feel like to finish the script? That's completely changed and elevated also the quality of the script because I've attached
mm.
this feeling towards it, and I just focus on the positive feelings. And then I come from that like high vibration or love, whatever you want to call it. And it just changes it. Instead of just putting empty words, the feeling seems to amplify it. I don't know how to explain it, but
Yeah,
it
no, I
works
think
for me.
that really well said. Yeah, just in general, and that's true. That helps in so many ways. Just clarity on how you want to feel about anything. It doesn't have to be
Exactly.
some big life thing. It just and also you're telling your body how you want to feel. I don't know. I think it's great. Well, it's worked for me, I should say.
Well, I also study kinesiology, and that's all around belief
Oh,
systems
cool.
and your feeling towards it. So often we have such an emotional reaction to so many things, which obviously that's the human experience. So clearing the negative response towards something. So let's just say you got fired. And yes, you may have moved on, but you still might have that feeling, I can't believe I was fired. So clearing that
Mm.
negative response also allows you to propel yourself forward. So it's just kind of like the
And
reverse
how
of it.
is that a kinesiology thing?
The
The
one
clearing
that
the
I
neck
did, it's
that
all
you,
around like
and
physical.
what is that? Sorry. So clearing in what way? Like what might an example be?
Oh, that's the
Or
I
is that a
haven't done
long
this in years, so I don't have
Okay.
like I used to literally have like a paragraph of like different responses because it's for someone like me, it sounded so ridiculous. I was like, what the hell is this? And then when I saw, very long story short, I think my dad, he did something to his disc and he couldn't walk. Saw a kinesiologist the next day and he could walk. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. So basically, people are going to kill me, the kinesiologist. You can work on like your emotional issues, your physical issues, maybe chemical, which can be other stuff
Mhm.
as well. So you can literally go for anything. It might be, it's anything. I often go for a bad back. And,
Yeah.
sometimes you go to the physio or whoever and you've got a sore neck and then, they clear it, it's gone, your neck feels amazing. And then a few days later, it comes back. Sometimes there's an emotional aspect. Maybe your wife, your husband's driving you nuts and you're getting, the old saying, a pain in the neck. So there's many modalities, there's many ways you can clear it. It could be kind of touch. It could be, I've learned thousands of techniques. I don't even know how to, but a
Wow. Oh,
lot
I
of it is
love
the emotional connection of why is that
where
happening.
you're
So
holding things in the body.
yeah, you've done a better
Ooh, I
job
love
for me. Because I know you're
this.
also into flower essences. I never studied it, but I know there's an additional component if people choose to do it. There's like thousands of ways to clear something.
Yeah.
Sometimes like talking it out and
I love
realizing.
all of it. Give me all of it. I don't know which of it works. Placebo works, whatever,
Well,
half the time.
placebo is actually
Yes,
a thing because if you
of
believe it, then
course.
it should
Of
that
course.
people we should be giving more placebo stuff because that's
Yeah.
the brain. The brain's a crazy thing. If you believe
Yeah.
it, then it can happen. Then it
Last
can
night I put
happen.
these like stickers on my temples that are supposed to help you sleep.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I don't know, they have herbs in them or something. You're supposed to rub them. I mean, whatever. So I did that, and I was like, wow, I slept great. But I forgot I also took a melatonin. So I was
Which
like,
one?
wait, I don't know if these
Yeah.
$10 stickers worked. So now I got to try tonight. I might own lab rats. I got to try tonight without the melatonin,
Yep.
and I can let you know tomorrow.
It'd be really funny if they were like the Apple stickers and they just crossed it out. And
Yeah. And just put a different symbol on it.
who
I'm
knows?
such a consumer.
I'm very similar in that regard. And going back to the goals and the visualizations,
Yes.
I think that's really cool. So when you had your parties as well, do you have like this group of people where you can all just cherish in the wins and just appreciate each other?
Yeah, I think that sort of combining social, not always, it sounds like there's always sort of like a goal in hanging out, but I think occasionally combining a purpose with social things is really fun. Whether it's, yeah, everybody make a vision board, or I have two friends that I take various writing classes with sometimes, and one lives in Nova Scotia, and one's actually in Australia. And we met on a writing course, and like
Oh,
once
wow.
a year, if we're in the same part of the world, we'll like we just did it because they both were in London, and we took one. But things that sort of give you, even if it's like a 3 hour thing, just something, a pottery class. I think it's really, even, hiking together, movement, doing something other than just sitting. Although, I mean, I love to eat, but, it's fun to put a little bit of a purpose towards to something.
Yes, I love that. My wife's been doing like more like not knitting, I forget what it's called, but I can't remember it, but with friends and they're talking and just, it's
Oh,
doing something
lovely.
while sitting and eating. And I'm like, oh, I want to do that, but my friends
And
won't
having
do that.
community. Yeah. Well, you
Exactly. Yeah.
gotta find friends at will. It's so thrilling.
If anyone's out there and you want to do that stuff, like I really want to do pottery. I might just do some classes by myself. And yeah, even
We
like
used to
writing.
do It was, but you could even meet people. So there's got to be, a couple hours of pottery that's a group class, and you're also meeting other people who are choosing to be there, again, who maybe you wouldn't usually meet in your normal life.
Yep.
And you're sitting next to each other at a wheel. You're all amateurs, if you take an amateur one.
I'm definitely an amateur. Yeah.
There's always a person who's definitely not the amateur, who's
They've
everyone's
done
like,
like a year.
"Oh, wow." I'm
Yeah.
like, get out of this class.
No, they've done like years of practice and they've just come in to show off. They're 100%.
Yeah, always. There's always that person. But yeah, you should find one near you. I'm sure there's one.
There
It's a
are
big
actually
city.
plenty. I've driven by one. But also what you're saying, like from the tying into the kinesiology aspect, I did accounting so at university. So everyone was roughly my age or similar type of people-ish. And then did that, hated it, didn't work out. Then I'm doing kinesiology and everyone's like a mum or older. And they're all ladies. I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing here? And then within like 2 days, I'm like, I found my people. I love them.
Yeah,
They're at my wedding and they came over the other day. I'm like, would have never have thought that I would hang out with, people like that. They know this. I've told this story. And I'm like, they're the coolest people that I know. So
It's wonderful.
I know. It's funny. I would have laughed if I would have known like 15 years ago this would be my life. I'd laugh. But you said something.
Well, you're finding yourself more.
Yeah.
You're finding out who you are. Sorry, go ahead.
No. You're right. I'm growing, learning. I love that stuff. And then you mentioned from the vision board aspect that you had achieved everything that you kind of that you'd wanted to do. That's very exciting, but sometimes that can be scary. I've had some guests where they've talked about, they achieved everything that they wanted to do, and then they're like, what next? And you can either come from fear, it could be scary, it could be daunting, or I've had other guests be like, this is life, baby, what's next? And I feel like you're in the latter category, but how did you kind of navigate that when you realized that you've achieved so much and deciding what's next?
Yeah, I mean, there's always more, always, always, always. So, but I think for me, it wasn't an obvious thing. I sort of lived my way into it and went, oh my gosh. And some of them were, I guess, for other people, sort of probably very tiny, realistic, but I just felt a profound sense of like nutritious satisfaction, like, oh, like, yes, we're there. Okay. And now, and some of it, wasn't as thrilling as that I had thought, or didn't give me the feelings I had hoped it would, or whatever it might be. So it also shifted how I want to view, I don't know, the next part of my life and what those goals might look like based on the previous ones and maybe the which ones actually provided joy.
Okay. You can write a TED talk because this is great because you alluded to self-worth earlier on that you're doing things. The industry gave you self-worth and now doing, pardon me, reading between the lines, all of these amazing things, you sound more whole for what ignites something within you. Can you tell me more about that? Or is that just realizing the industry is not everything in my life? There are other things that bring me joy. I'm going to look at that. Like that's wonderful to me.
I think I probably also didn't take a lot of time to enjoy at the time. It was just about achieving and what's next and growing and being on the hamster wheel. And so I think that when you're approaching something from that place or from maybe needing validation, it's impossible. It's an impossible well to fill, and it never, ever, ever will give you that for any sustained amount of time. And I feel like that's such a sort of obvious thing to say, but you don't know it until you do it. You think this thing is going to make you feel lovable or loved, or you think this is going to be the thing that, makes you who you are. And then when it doesn't, or you think money is going to solve things, or whatever the bazillion reasons are that you want to sort of maybe achieve something. And it just always comes back to the heart, and it comes back to sort of stripping away the outside stuff. It comes back to healing. It comes back from operating from your best self as opposed to your, I don't know, wounded child, so on and so forth. And it's such a difference in motivation. And it doesn't mean I don't want to achieve things. It just means that the things I want have changed.
I know that I've spoken about this a bit, but I find this so exciting. Yes, it's like a gradual build, but I feel like one day after, even doing all the work on yourself, doing these things where you had this like profound shift and go, I'm not getting validation the way I want, I'm going to make a change. Am I hearing that right? Or has it been a slow-ish build and you're like, I need to make some changes?
I think it's a slower thing and not, I think for me, it's been really organic. It's been, and part of it has been age and part of it has been experience, both in the world as a human and also at work and within the business. And I think what you're willing to do when you're 20 is very different than when you're 30. All those sorts of just very relatable, normal things. And for me, I just I've sort of lived into myself and into my own skin. And so I've just become a much more grounded, much more rooted, calmer. I just like myself more, I think. And that changes the decisions you make.
I agree. So you've done a lot of stuff. I believe you also a trained yoga, certified yoga teacher. So what
Yeah.
else is, because people are hearing this and they'll be like, wow, how can I be like you? How can I shed all of these doubts, insecurities, which we all have? What else have you done? You've done a lot of various different therapies, yoga, meditation. What are some of the
I think
highlights?
the thing that for me has helped me the most with sort of my biggest personal challenges, both growing up and just in general, definitely therapy, but specifically somatic therapy.
Okay.
And I think I was seeking a lot and sort of in a lot of pain in my 20s. And so I tried all sorts of things to feel better. And for me, the process of somatic therapy, and specifically the person that I work with and have for years now, I just have found that it has helped me. It's so hard to articulate, but it's not only is it rewiring your brain, but also it's changed my reaction time to things. It's helped me stop and process. It has helped me come from a different place. It's helped me, like, instead of operating, going 0 to 60, or operating, from that, coming back to the middle and more sort of living in that place.
You have a
And
healthy nervous system.
it's about your nervous system, and getting that in like a homeostasis and then reacting from there is a complete game changer. It's a game changer for who you are as a person. It's a game changer for your health. It's a game changer for me as an actor in every way, me as a boss, me as a leader, me as a partner. It is. Oh, I just wish everyone had access to it. It really, I'm a big advocate. Well, therapy in general. I'm just a huge advocate of it.
As am I. That's really interesting because often zero judgment, everyone has their own journey, and I mean that. Often when we're feeling these potentially negative feelings, or we're reacting in ways that we don't want to, or we want to change or be, inverted commas, better, we can sweep it under the rug. We don't want to deal with it. And that seems to be very common in this day and age. A lot of people are scared to look within, and I understand. I've been that person as well. What was actually the driving? I know you said you've always been quite a driven person professionally, but obviously there's a drive within you to be, and it's going to sound a bit wanky, the best version of yourself. Is this like something your parents taught you, or have you always been kind of like a seeker in that sense? Like, where does that come from a 20-year-old to want to do all this stuff?
I think I wanted to feel better. I think I was in whether I don't know if I knew how to articulate it. And I don't mean to sound like I haven't had a great life or loved my work and all of those things. I just think that I had a lot of turmoil within my own self. And so there was a need to satiate that and to just feel better, to, not be as anxious, to not have as many nightmares, like all those things. And I don't like focusing on the negative, saying what I didn't want, but I knew what I wanted was more of a sense of calm, more of a sense of, I wanted to feel better in my own skin, in my own space, in a room. And although I think I've probably seemed like I've had a lot of confidence in various situations, but
There's always layers as well. You feel like you've done
yeah,
one layer, then you go to the next layer, and you're still doing it for your right reasons from the get-go, but you're just uncovering deeper truths for yourself. So
yeah. But I like to, and not overanalyze, but if I mean, I do love self-analysis, but not to like hopefully not an annoying degree, but depends who you ask. But, if there's something I like to know, maybe why I behaved in that way, or, oh,
the
gee,
same.
I was really, I was sort of inserting myself a lot tonight in that conversation. That was because I probably felt a bit insecure. Next time, I'd like to focusing on listen more. And just as, I mean, literally 3 minutes, 5 minutes, not like a whole thing, but just, let me rewrite that for myself, or a conversation, or in the past, maybe an audition, as opposed to holding on to something, just going, let me redo that for a minute. This is kind of how I'd want to be. And then you kind of do it the next time.
I love that because, it could be an audition. It could be me editing a podcast, pardon me, whatever. You acknowledging what's happened for you, but not sweeping it under the rug. So let's just say, like, for an audition, you look back at the audition and go, okay, maybe I could have done that. It wasn't that as bad. I've seen it. Let it go. That's a super healthy way of doing it. Instead of going, it was a bad audition, I never want to look at it again. That's how we move forward. Otherwise, we just keep on accumulating some of these things and we're not letting it go. So that's basically a bit of kinesiology right there.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. And in life too. Or I don't know, you're late for a flight and you feel really stressed. Okay, next time, here's how I'm going to do this differently. Okay, let it go. Whatever it is, it works in every way and really transforms. So like nothing is ever that intense if I mean, obviously barring any kind of major massive consequences, but you can rewrite it for yourself and go, okay, this is how I'm going to do it next time. And then your body completely does let it go. I don't hang on to things. I don't stay mad.
Cool.
It's for the most part.
Yeah. You're a human, but that's still
not always.
Do you know any of Joe Dispenza's work? It sounds like quite similar to.
No, let me write this down.
Joe Dispenza. I could be getting this story wrong. I've done a few of his things. He's incredible. He's one of the biggest names maybe. But I think it's going to sound ridiculous. People can Google. He's got many best-selling books, so the validation's there for him. But I think his story started with something like, maybe he was in a car accident. Once again, people, please Google this. And he was told he would never be able to walk again. And then while he was lying in bed, each day he worked on one vertebra and he said, you work, or I believe you can work, or whatever. And this, he's in a lot of pain, very uncomfortable. And he eventually got, after each day, the vertebra was working, got it to work, and then he could walk after doing it every single day, spending many hours. And now he's like the god of like mindset and how you can overcome your own challenges and pain. And I'm pretty sure at one of the workshops that I went to, there's hundreds of people, but one lady couldn't walk, and then afterwards she could stand up.
Oh,
and
wow.
So, like, just crazy.
I love this stuff, and I think the power of the mind is huge, but I also find it slightly tricky because I think there can be aspects of it that then feel like blaming, or you have this ailment because you're not, I don't know, manifesting hard enough, or thinking, or
I agree.
That's where it gets very sticky and tricky, and which is a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
But overall, I find the power of the mind very powerful. And also there are some things that just are, physically, emotionally, mentally, and you can't maybe think your way out of them.
Yeah.
So
I agree. It's well said. I may have misspoke for him. He's all about like living the best version of yourself for where you're at.
Yeah.
So I think that's the best way to put it. And while this springs to mind, when you're talking about the hamster wheel and, achieving so much success, what's it like? Because there would be like 1 year where you're in Heart of Dixie or in IMPASTOR or episodes or something like that. And I think they were two of them were in the same year at least.
Yeah.
What's it like from the non-linear aspect where, two massive shows, you've got that's, 99% of people don't ever get a show like that. What's it like when you have a year or a season or a period when it's not like that? How did you deal with that? Because the hamster wheel is always chasing, but the life of an actor. You mean
when it's not, when you're off when you're not working, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, then you're trying to work. I think it's busier trying to work. I think it's harder trying to work than working. I think being on things, no matter how long the days, is easier than trying to get the thing. Or enjoying the time. The sweet spot is you sort of know you have a job you have time off, but your job is coming, whatever it is. You're shooting on this date. Then you can breathe a bit. But I think when not knowing what's coming next or when you work again, no matter what you've done in the past, it's awful. And it's so awful. And so you can't relax. You can't or that's how I felt in the past. You couldn't take your foot off the gas because you need that next thing. So but I always was sort of working so hard to get that next thing in whatever form that I just did not stop or enjoy as much as I probably should have either, because it was just always what's next, what's next, what's next. Not that I didn't enjoy. This sounds like I just kind of
No.
raced
What
through
you're
decades
saying
of my
is that you
life.
still enjoyed it, but there's also that reality of an actor, and everyone has, they talk about the acting, I forget what it's called, like the negative mindset of an actor is when am I going to work next, or I'm
Mm,
never going to work again, all of that. So all of my like accounting friends, finance friends, lawyer friends, they don't understand, and I get it. When you might not have another gig, they're like, whoa, that's like anxiety on drugs. So I fully get it. That's
yeah.
why I admire the actor that's been able to thrive in this space, because mentally you would have had to make so many positive mental shifts to be able to do what you've done for so long as well.
Yeah, but it's also a minefield. Like it's so tiring, I think. And yeah, it's difficult, I think. I think it's really difficult. And but the more I don't know, I'm so used to it. So I think that like the pivoting, the going with the flow, the accepting that you don't know what's next, all of that, once you learn, if you can learn to figure out those pieces as best you can, then it's great. But I think if you, for a long time, I lived in not that, there wasn't a lot of peace around it.
I would.
So it was a struggle.
And from the comparison and the non-linear aspect, as an accountant, I knew if I did a okay-ish job, I'm always going to the next level. Not every year you might be the lead, or you might go from number 2 to number 5 or 10 or 20, or you might not get as much work. How have you been able to navigate that? Because logically you think if you're the star of a show, it should always be like that. But unfortunately, that's not the
Oh, no
the sense.
way. Yeah, no
Yeah,
way. The great thing, or what has given me a lot of, I think an asset is that I don't, even with whatever we've talked about with validation, I never felt the need to be the star, meaning I was fine, whatever number I was.
cool.
I never, I was always very happy for someone else to shine within that context. And that gave me a lot, that helped a lot. Because I think if you're stuck on any of that, oh man, you're screwed.
Yeah.
It's not a great way to live. And also, I'm going to tell you a secret.
Ooh.
When you're on a show, you get, if you're a series regular, you get paid the same, whether you say one word or every word of that script.
Mm.
Whether you work one day of the week or 5 days of the week. And I never understood why people wanted to be the person, the number one, who usually works every day of the week.
Yeah. I
And
want to be number
they're getting
10.
more money. Yeah,
Yeah.
number one gets more money, of course, of course, of course. But there becomes a point where this sounds so lazy, but I was like, hold on. Number 4 on this call sheet, that is pretty
That's the
sweet.
sweet. I've heard people say number 6 or 7's the sweet spot, but they never
Like, you
said,
don't need to be on the bus. You don't
yeah.
need to be the picture on the bus. It's not your fault if the show fails. You just, anyway. I don't know what made me think of that. That
No,
wasn't
that's
your question.
great. That's great for me as well, because I've written quite a few screenplays, and I know that I want to be writing and acting on it. But maybe I can slot myself as like the guy that says one line every episode.
You don't need to be there every day. It's a long, especially in America, the rules are different than the UK. They work less hours in the UK.
Oh,
But man,
really?
yeah, it's 12 hours in the US, it's 10 hours in the UK.
I almost
So
moved to the
yeah,
UK. Yeah.
although the
Well,
pay is less, I don't know. It all comes out in the wash. But yeah, depending on how exhausted you want to feel, maybe yeah. Listen, being the sidekick ain't so bad.
I agree. I've done very minor acting, but not a lot of some extra work. And by God, that's brutal. I admire all the people that can do that, but it's like 12 hours just
A lot
standing
of
from
work.
different directions. I'm like, wow, I didn't realize this is way harder than whatever I did as an accountant. This is
Yeah.
great. This is crazy.
And you don't get to be creative in that
No,
context. That's
not for me. Yeah.
yeah.
I thought, like, I was so naive. This one lady, she saw a podcast clip that I'd spoken to her before, and she's like, I'm putting you up for a role. I'm like, oh my God, I might get work through the podcast through acting. And very sweet of her, very nice. But it was an extra role, which I'm very grateful for. But I thought I'd have an acting role, and David Corenswit's in it, the guy who's playing Superman. And then I asked him, like, I just want to practice my lines. Like, what lines are they? And she's like, oh no, it's not really that. You might just need to improvise like a few, gestures and stuff. And I was like, got quickly humbled down. I thought I was just given a role in a massive film that's coming out soon. But anyway, I'm very grateful to
Just
her
to be
there.
on set, like if you're not familiar with sets, it's a great way for people to kind of understand how things are, start to learn the lingo, especially if you pay attention, and like just feel what it is. I think in that way it's super helpful. There's no other way. I know there's action schools, of course, but you learn by
Real
doing. I mean,
experience. I agree.
yeah,
That's like you doing stand up. You also learned the theory and the practice, but you got up and actually
you
did
have
it
to
as
do it.
well.
You have to do it. At the end of the day, all of it, you have to do it.
Scary for a lot of people, but you've done it as well. And also going to your wonderful mindset, very uplifting mindset as well. This is crazy. I've been thinking about this for a while, but I think you've had over 10 shows that you have said have failed. The quote is, I've had so many
At
failures.
least,
And on top of that, you said you're grateful for it. Why? Tell
yeah.
me your secrets.
Why am I grateful for things that haven't, whatever, gotten picked up?
Yeah,
In theory,
gone to
shows or shows that
fruition.
haven't gone. Oh gosh, because every time you learn something, you always meet people, you learn something, you have the experience. The experience itself isn't taken away, even if that show doesn't keep going or isn't a success or gets pulled from the air or whatever. It's always better to do, like regardless of what happens, always, 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 always. There's never ever a situation I think where it's like, oh, not having that experience. Well, no, that's not true. That's way too sort of broad. But in those situations, and they've led to other things. So just recently, a pilot I did just a couple months ago was with someone who I did a pilot who wrote a pilot I had done years ago that didn't go. And then we just worked together just a couple months ago. So, I mean, you just don't know how these things are going to, I mean, literally years later. So I think if you show up as your best self, do your best work, then it's completely out of your control. So you just have to do that every single day to your full, always be prepared, always do the work. And you'll be proud of yourself and it will feel good. Doesn't mean you'll get what you think it doesn't.
Yeah, you
I don't
think.
know. It's tricky in acting. There's no there's no guarantees. So
But that's why I really admire your mindset. Like one example that springs to mind, I had a guest on. It sounded like he was going to be one of the leads in Inglorious Bastards or have a massive role. It's people listen to the podcast with Sam Levine, amazing guy. I think he had like 40 or 60 pages where he was in scene. So that's like crazy, as you know.
wow.
I
Yeah.
think it sounded like he had a really big role. And then he watched where do they film those movies? It's like, is it in
I don't
Italy or somewhere?
know.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Oh, in Europe somewhere. Yeah, I don't know.
And he flies there and he sees himself. Every single scene has been cut in Quentin
Oh
Tarantino's Inglorious
gosh.
Bastards. But it's not like a
Wait,
scene.
that he shot. He shot it all.
Yeah, he shot it all. He said he had, I'll tell you his learnings afterwards, but it's with Brad Pitt, all these amazing actors, and they've cut everything besides like one or two scenes. And he couldn't believe it. His heart dropped. With reflection, he's a very wise person. He's like, one, I got paid, even though it's not about that. But two,
Yeah.
who would have thought that I would be able to act with like Brad Pitt and learn so much, meet all of these people? He got to shoot for a year. He grew so much. I think he got other agents potentially off that because they saw he was in this film. And then he's like really, and I am as well, really proud of the shifts that he made because he thought it was going to be this big, huge thing for him. And then it was, but just in a different way. And that can be
Yeah, but
quite
wow,
hard.
that is huge. That's oof. But I think that is never, as he knows, I'm sure, but it has nothing to do with him. So those sorts of decisions and those cuts, and it's not very rarely, maybe once in a great while, but it's very rarely about the person.
Agreed.
Even cast changes, even getting fired, even, like it doesn't, yes, they need someone else or they realize you weren't right for it, but you'll be right for something else. I've had the most talented friends in the world who are incredible be replaced on things and they've really thrived in a different role. And so, it's not, it's brutal, definitely at the time for sure. But yeah, it's not, it's just part of it.
We've had quite a few people talk about how, like, everyone's been fired and how, at the start, my ego doesn't mean I'm not good enough. But as you know, not everyone's right for the role. Doesn't mean you're not a good actor, but it applies in life. Like, even if it's with a partner as well, you might be a great person, but you might not be right for that person. And we've seen,
Yes.
we all had experiences like that as well. Yeah.
What are you talking about? I've never been dumped. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I have not been fired, but only, I don't say that as a brag. I truly think that the universe knew I probably wasn't ready to handle that. I've not gotten a bazillion trillion jobs. I mean, so many, but which also, or gotten to like the last point where you're testing for the show. That's happened so many times and you don't get it. And in the olden days, you had to sign your contract. So you'd see what the 7-year, it's a 7-year contract. It's X amount of money. And you're down to 2 of you and you go back and back and back. That I've not gotten that a million times and done that, but never where I've actually gotten the job. But I do just think truly, I'm so sensitive. I think the universe is like, okay, we'll give you other lessons.
Well, it sounds like even if you have done the testing and it's a one-off and you can see like the contract or whatever, I'm sure in that moment it stings like hell. But obviously you're realizing you weren't right for the role. So how quickly? It sounds like you've got very good self-talk. I know that you were saying before. It sounds like you can bounce back pretty quickly.
Well, I once had where it was a pilot. I went in. They changed the character name based on discussions we had together. Like I was like, this is my part. This is obviously, they're like, what do you want her name to be? Which was probably their fault. They shouldn't have gone to that. And that when I did, I was like, so yes, there's been I cannot tell you so many of those kind of stories where you're so fully invested. But yeah, then you let it go and what's next? And you go on to that's that. You have to let it go or you will die.
Agreed. Did you ever have moments where you're like, I'm done, I'm taking months off, or have you always been, I can do this?
I don't think for a long time I had the luxury. I think I had to work. I had to, as much as I've worked, it took a long time to sort of build to a place where I even felt like I could breathe. I never took a vacation. I never turned down anything. More and more I could be, choosier with the parts that I would do, but I never did nothing ever. I think my first vacation.
That's so
never.
common hearing actors not taking vacations.
Yeah. You don't feel like you can. I mean, I think my first real vacation was just a couple years ago, and I'm 43. Also, actually, I don't know how old I am. I think I'm 40, gonna be 40. No, I'm 42. We don't know. We don't know. Nobody knows. I'm in my 40s.
Is that more like just as a Hollywood age thing or your birth certificate?
No.
Literally?
No, sorry. It's more of I just always forget because I've lied about it for so many years, but it's around there.
Can you tell me about that? And you can go wherever you want to go with this. A lot of ladies in particular have said, the industry being and it has been sexist and ageist, and it's also ageist towards guys, but in a different way. The fact that you have to lie about age and stuff, isn't that? And I would have done the same thing 100%. Is it not crazy how that's like so you like have to because you're dealing with certain people that might not have a holistic way of seeing things?
Well, I think hopefully it's a bit different now. I also find that like it's very strange to say you're younger because I don't ever want to like it's strange on so many levels to me. One, why are you saying you're younger? Because then you're trying to look that way, but you don't, and that's weird, and then you don't look as good. But also, I could talk for days on this subject of looks and perception and the patriarchy and all sorts of things. But it's very weird. We don't want to look our age. I think it's a strange thing in our society that we're not supposed to look how old we are. But I guess when I say it, it's also not even just about looks. I mean, just because you're trying to fit into whatever this literal role is that they have. Even sometimes I've tried to be older than I was. There was one show where it was right when I was getting to the age of being cast as a parent. And I called my reps. It was an audition. And I called my reps and I was like, oh, I can't be the mom of 3 kids. Like, I'm obviously too young for that. So I think this is, not a waste of time. I don't, it's not a thing. I don't think I should do it. And they called back. They're like, oh, we talked to casting. They said, nope, you're definitely right for it. And I was like, oh, okay. And then one great thing is when of this business is you're always acutely aware of how you're perceived. And I do think that that's kind of a neat thing. Like, even if it's not how you want to be, this is how people are seeing you. So good or bad, this is the age they think you are. This is the way they think you behave. This is the kind of roles they think you can play. And I think that's, you know, to always have to sort of look in the mirror in that way and go, oh, I'm playing a parent now. What does that mean for where I'm at in my life? You know, and reflect, as opposed to just sort of living your life. Well, maybe it's not so good actually. The more I'm hearing myself talk.
No.
I found it really useful to reflect.
Well, it sounds like, you know, with Hollywood, you know, you've been doing this for a while. There's different like stages, and it sounds like, although it may have been like an initial shock, because also crazy, like in a lot of movies and TV shows, you see like I'm 32, I have to think as well, and you see like a girl that's like 25 and she's got like an 18-year-old daughter. You're like, how the hell does this? Like, it's ridiculous. And yeah, you obviously have to deal with it a lot more than me, but I see it's things on screen. I'm like, what are you like trying to do? I agree. We should embrace who we are and where we're at in life, but it feels like the industry makes that very hard.
But I will say, in England, and I do still, I'm in LA a ton still, but in England, and I would say like it's different. I would like, as a rule, just the faces you're seeing on TV, it's more like real people. I think there's more women. I wonder statistically, there must be somewhere we could see. I think there are more women over 40, over 50 on TV in the UK, or at least there were previously than America. Maybe not now, but it feels much more. I mean, everything's looks based, right? But it does feel different here, I think. I don't know if there's any truth in that, but it feels that way to me, and I love it.
Well, okay, great. Well, as long as you feel it, and that's great for you as well. Like,
I like seeing real women of real age. You know, like, I don't know. I think it's great. So it's happening more and more, but it's taken a while.
Yep. We agree in that. And in terms of typecasting, has that been a thing for you? If it has, how have you been able to navigate it? Because it feels like it's a similar topic to what you're talking about.
I think the sort of changing the kind of roles that I want to do, and those choices have been made for me, obviously with aging as well. But I think playing more initially into, you know, I have blonde hair and blue eyes and big boobs, and there was sort of roles that were easier to get that I did a lot. But a lot of those allowed me to also do comedy. So that was my way in, which was such a gift and I absolutely loved. And I think as I've, not just with age, but the roles as I've changed, the roles have changed. And you know, going from even speaking sort of more from my throat and a little bit from up here, just even in life, because I kind of was a bit more insecure. That's even my diaphragm, like where I speak from, has changed. That changed the kind of roles. They became more authoritative. They became more, I don't know, police officers and doctors and lawyers, as opposed to, you know, girlfriend number one or whatever. So as I change, the roles change, and that's happening more and more, partly because of me and partly because of, you know, looks changing. And yeah, but I've definitely noticed that energy, like, as I haven't played, I don't know if this is anything to do with it, but since I've been in a really serious, wonderful relationship now for like 9 years,
Oh, wow,
I
nice.
haven't, I don't think I've been a love interest in this time. I mean, I would, there's nothing against it, but it just is interesting energetically. Like, the way I dress has kind of shifted. The more I like myself, the
Yep.
more anyway, so yeah, it's all kind of changed. And then the work starts to reflect that, or lack thereof, you know, the kind of roles you're choosing, or for me, I should say. Yeah, I'm not as interested in being in a bikini.
But what I'm hearing, one of the many things is that this is like a masterclass on building, you know, self-worth and confidence. And as you've made these shifts, you know, outside of the industry as well, it's so exciting. Your life looks very different to where it was. And what I'm hearing is, you know, we can all do it. We can all work on ourselves. We can all live a greater life for ourselves. And it's not, you know, as scary as we might think it might be. So I think that's really awesome in that regard.
Definitely.
You are very wise, and I've also been thinking because I write a lot of a lot of my scripts, and I want to play some of the main characters, and be number 7 as well. The fact that the thought now of like potentially having like a love interest and having like a girlfriend on screen and doing all of that stuff, I'm like, oh no, what am I going to do? How am I going to know? I know that's like a ridiculous situation, but that's something I'm
I don't
thinking
think
of
it's
now.
ridiculous. And I think it's because I've had many on-screen lovers, many, 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 so many. And it is a job. It's a job. And if you're a professional, there's a line and a boundary, and it's part of the work. But I do understand, sort of the that boundary being slightly tricky when you're in something so pure. People do it all the time. I'm not saying you can't be in a good relationship and have a love scene. I'm just saying it's also weird. It is a job, but it's also weird. It's weird to be kissing. It's weird to be half naked in bed. No matter how professional you are. Now there's intimacy coordinators and all that stuff, of course, which I never had in all of my many love scenes. But yeah, it changed it. Well, for me, it has slightly. It's not that I wouldn't do it, but it does change it a little bit. Where I'm like,
Okay, good. I'm glad to
yeah,
hear. I'll
you
just
can
get
do
like
it. My point is, you can do it. Don't worry.
I'm going to get like this extra. I'm going to get a stand-in that's going to be like 2 times the size of me, a different like skin tone, and like, okay, get him in.
Just ripped abs.
Like a massive like tonal shift as well, like wearing different clothes. Be hilarious. I heard you also say this is not a reflection on you whatsoever. It's on the other couple. I think you had one scene as well where I don't know, maybe you had to kiss the guy, and he brought his girlfriend or something, and
I had one. I never named what it is, obviously, but I actually think there's been more than one, but the one I'm thinking of right now, I don't remember what I've said in the past, but never ever saying who. But there was a partner at Video Village, like while we were doing a very intimate scene, and it was so uncomfortable. Oh my goodness. Because obviously, like, I have boundaries in those situations and like respect, but it was because they're so, because even, anyway, yes, very, very uncomfortable.
While I was doing the prep for this, I listened to that bit with my wife, and I said to her, I was like, oh, if this has to happen, should I get the girl to like have bad breath or something? It's like, don't be an idiot, just do it. I'm like, okay, but I'm going to feel uncomfortable. She doesn't care at all. And I'm like, but I
Yeah.
don't want, but yeah.
She's all, where was I talking? Do you remember where I was talking about that? I don't remember at all. Oh, who cares? Who
It
cares?
wasn't, it was not a reflection on you whatsoever. It was more the guy was like brought his girlfriend. You
Yeah,
didn't say
yeah.
who it was or anything. It was just a
Yeah,
very
okay. I was
funny
like, just
story.
make it. I was like worried about, okay, yeah.
No. That like nothing would come of it. It was just more funny how this guy brought this girl, and you're like, oh, that's a
But you
bit.
have to do a lot of like, it's also not fair because I'm on such overdrive making the other person feel comfortable. You're amazing. I love your dress. You look great. It's all going to be fine.
Yeah.
And here I am like, I need to focus on the work. Um, but also I do understand because obviously there's a lot of situations where people are on set, they're in, foreign countries, working long days, doing intimate scenes. And a lot of times, people fall for each other. So I understand the worry around it or anxiety around
Ah, I
situations.
wasn't even alluding to that. That you've probably seen that a lot, but don't name names. I'm
Yeah.
sure. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no, no. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, all the time.
yeah.
People date we work with a lot. Yeah.
That to me has always been something like when I was at many years ago, the accounting firm, there was potential interest from this one lady, and she was trying like every day. I was like, you would be
Yeah,
fine.
Michael, get it.
I was like, I told a few of the guys outside of work, and they're like, well, no, we're all on the same page. Be like, do not go. I'm like, I know. I'm definitely the only advice this is ridiculous. This is not going to come across well. But my manager at the time, he gave me one advice, and he said, don't sleep with Sarah, and then don't sleep with anyone else here because this firm talks. I'm like, and he's like, okay, see you, enjoy. That was like the only thing he ever said to me. I'm like, whoa. But also the HR lady got banned because she slept with too many grads on. Which, okay, that's pretty funny. That there's no slut shaming there. That's a funny story. Imagine like,
No, but it's tricky, man. But I think that like I don't know. I'm pretty open minded about all this stuff, but I think with a film, it's ending. So it's a bit different than a job that you think you might want to have for a long
I
time.
respect my manager's advice. Not that I was going to do
Yeah.
anything as well, but
Also,
that,
people fall in love at work. I don't know. And then they have great lives. I don't know. I don't
no,
know.
I'm not having if people navigate that in their own space. For me, I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. This doesn't feel right. And it worked out well for me, but it might work out for someone else. And just don't get into trouble. That's my only
Yeah.
advice. And while this springs to mind, talking about those 10 plus shows that you claim have failed, I would think that you wouldn't view them as a failure anymore. But how has your view of success changed in that regard? Because I'm sure I'm putting words in your mouth, but I'm sure a success at the start would have been, be 1 to 10 on the call sheet, have 5 seasons and, earn a lot of money. And now that it's shifted, do you know how it's shifted in that regard? Pardon me.
I mean, it's so fun because even you asking, like, I can't even, it takes a sec for even me to remember what they were. Whereas I'm sure like 10 years ago, it would have been much more vibrant and I would have, I don't know,
Well, that's
cared more
growth.
at
That's
the time.
growth. That
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, I don't even view it that way. I don't even think about it. I think of it all as like a body of work. Some things have been well received, some things haven't. Some things have been some things that haven't been well received have been really lucrative. Some things have been really well received, have done nothing for me to help with stability. Like everything has, I don't know, there's always I truly believe there's a silver lining, or I choose to look at things that way. And when you do, like my motto is everything always works out for me.
Oh, cool.
Everything always works out for me. And people can go, well, what if such and such and all these bad things? And it's not that. It's the idea that like even when something doesn't go the way you think it's supposed to, what if that is working out for you? And again, I know this doesn't apply when you have illness and other things. I'm not, that's a whole separate thing that I know
But
is
even then,
incredible.
sometimes as well. But that's a deeper.
Very difficult to navigate. Yeah. So if we're just talking about sort of things, I don't know, a relationship ending or a job you didn't get or whatever, things like that. I really, really think that if you can step outside yourself and just imagine for a moment, what if this is actually leading to something else? It's so, for me, I find it excellent. It works really well. And it does kind of work out that way. And it's been a really powerful tool for me, and maybe slightly survival too, because if you didn't think that way, you'd be pretty depressed with a lot of things, a lot of not getting a lot of jobs or whatever it might have been. But it's kind of an excellent, like, try that thinking for a month, and you sort of start, I don't know, your shoulders start coming back and you start kind of floating around like, oh, everything's going to work out. Oh, you said no to that thing I want you to say yes to? That's okay. That's going to work out because someone else is going to say yes. And it really, try it. Just try it. After you get done barfing from hearing me speak in this way. Right? Try it.
I was the person many years ago that would have barfed, or I would have laughed at it.
Gross.
But I was
it's
very
really
lucky.
gross.
But I had this PT, and she's literally like an angel, and she, challenged me in a lot of my belief systems. You're just going there for gym, but she was like a life coach in that regard. And I don't remember what she said, but she basically said your belief systems are making you feel like not that I was ever like a negative person, but they're limiting how you can feel. Why don't you, if you can do that, why don't you just try and shift to where you can? And she kind of gave me tools along the way. And now people would say I'm one of the most optimistic people. I truly believe it. I believe exactly what you said as well. It's not even that hard of a mindset shift. It's just a little bit of a muscle. You just do it a few times and bam.
And I think too, it doesn't mean you don't feel sad. It doesn't mean you don't acknowledge things. That's a huge difference. Like it doesn't mean being fake. It doesn't mean not owning things, but there is, if no matter what it is, like my partner and I, every night we say, no matter what, we say 5 things we're grateful for each of that day.
We do the same. Amazing.
Yeah. It's tiny. Usually mine always consists of hot water. I love a hot shower. So that's like always on there. It can be tiny. I also love ice water. My things are a lot around water. I love all water in lots of different forms, but it doesn't have to be anything. And the great thing about that is, one, you learn about each other's days and you're like, oh, something happened to you I didn't realize, or oh, that thing I didn't realize that, like, that's on your list of 5 and like I wouldn't have even clocked that or whatever. So that's really fun. But it shifts it slightly. So even if regardless of what happened in the day, once in a while we'll go down to 3, like,
Yep.
because you're just really struggling. But there's always something, and I think shifting in that way. Anyway, for me, it's helped me a lot in just feeling good and approaching decisions and work and whatever.
Same. I used to like unintentionally say all the things that have gone wrong in the day. And now we do what we're grateful for and like 3 things that have gone well. And even, at least for me, on my like worst days, there's always something. Like even, if you do gratitude, you've got a roof over your head. Like that goes so far. Like even in your worst days to find something, and everyone can find something, regardless what the day is, there's many things. It's a quick shift for me. Doesn't mean I don't feel my emotions, like you said, but it's really helped me, and I can like, move forward quite quickly because of something so small, but there's something that happens when you're grateful and you mean it. It does something, part of me, to your brain. It's unbelievable. It's great advice.
Even like if you're going, like, let's say there's a really hard time, but sometimes in those moments or on those days, from that vulnerability, maybe you'll connect with a friend in a different way who you had to ask for help, or they showed up for you in a way that, So yeah, I think that those moments when you stop to find them, even within heartache or whatever it might be, and then some days you don't feel like it. That's cool. Yeah, it's hard being alive in the world. It's really hard and it sucks a lot of the time. But I don't know, finding the moments of joy is huge.
Brilliant. I love it. Before we do a rapid fire segment, I just want to tie up. When you said that you had 10 shows that hadn't, gone to potentially fruition at the start, and now we've spoken about your mindset shift as well. I thought this ties in really nicely that you did, I think it was a Bill Lawrence maybe pilot or something, and it didn't go ahead, but it got you into comedy. And that was like, how cool is that? That, an experience like that led you to comedy and you've been able to thrive in it as well.
Yeah, and he is he's an amazing writer. He's done Scrubs, Ted Lasso, I mean a bazillion shows. But it was my first show, and so in a business that has had, the Me Too and a lot of negative experiences with men and all of that kind of stuff. I was so young. I was testing the show, so you're in this room with a bunch of other people, for the same part. I went into the hall. He came outside. He said, he goes, "You're gonna do great." I'm paraphrasing. "You're gonna do great. If you mess up a line or if you don't feel good, we're just gonna go back and do it again." He came out of the room, just him. "I want you to just take it easy. No, it's all gonna be okay. No, I think the world of you." And it was essentially, I mean, that sort of conversation. I went in floating like, "Oh, cool. Great."
Yeah.
Did the audition, walked out, they called, I got the part. I was like, this is so easy. Booking shows is a piece of cake.
Yeah.
Did the job. Everyone was lovely. The actors were amazing. Taron Killam, who then went on to SNL and a bunch of amazing things. But so that was my first ever experience, and it was so lovely. And Bill is such a wonderful man, and pure, and not none of the other. It was just professional. It was professional and wonderful. And I told him years later, thanked him for that, because I think it's just who he is, and it made such an impression to me on a young actress, and having not just because they're your boss, right? The showrunner's your boss, and having had that experience, having felt so supported through that experience, that was also, a sitcom and comedy and all of that, was such an amazing foundation for me. That was obviously disappointing. It didn't go because it was such a great experience, but then I had to swim with some sharks after that, for sure.
Well, even just having someone saying that, you are great, I love you, whatever he said. That I haven't heard anyone talk like that. What a compliment!
No, and I had not had. Yeah, it was a different. I truly was like, why is everyone saying acting is so hard? Why is everyone saying this process is so hard? This is so great.
And then this might be a part 2, but swimming with the sharks, did you always go back to the Bill Lawrence? There's good people out there. There's good people out there. I don't need to,
I think I want to use the one woman show as an opportunity to sort of explore some of the themes on men in the business, exploitation, all those sorts of topics. But I will say that I've also had just like the Bill experience, really wonderful, wonderful experiences for the most part. I mean, it can be a very dirty, toxic place, Los Angeles, when you're young without without a support system, for sure. It's also quite funny, and I don't know, but I don't feel the I also got having the wrong attention from men also helped me grow a lot. So, I don't know, there's some interesting things around there that aren't, I think, as cut and dry as it might seem. But yeah,
Yeah.
there's definitely some
Oh,
dirty birdies.
we dirty. That's a
There's
it.
definitely some, as the UK says, wrongins.
We've unfortunately, but with your mindset, which is brilliant, the learnings from it as well. We've heard a bit about it on this
Yeah.
podcast, but hopefully it's getting better. And I love your learnings. Before we wrap up, do you want to do a rapid fire segment?
Okay, what does that mean? You say things quickly and I answer quickly?
I ask you a question, and your answer is going to be at whatever pace you want. I just call it a rapid fire
Okay.
segment.
Okay.
I've also realized that my printer has. I can barely read these, but
Oh
let's
no,
see.
it's not so rapid then.
No, but I've said these. So,
How do
yeah.
you feel?
What is your name? What's your favorite thing to do when you're not working?
Ooh, I love time with my partner, walks, holding hands, seeing girlfriends, brunches, yoga, goofing around.
Great answer. I'm not going to comment on these because I'll derail them, but that was great.
Okay.
You may have already answered it. What brings the best creative content out of you?
Oh, uh, what brings the best creative content out of me? Stillness.
Best actor you've worked with. You're going to get a lot of people in trouble. So
Oh my gosh. Honestly, how do you choose your kids? I mean, what does best mean? Uh, oh God, this
I'm
is
not helping
absolutely
you out. Yeah,
impossible.
I'm not.
No, this is absolutely impossible. I have truly, I sound like a politician. I have been so, so blessed, lucky, fortunate. Every job I've done truly has had, oh, I know the answer. I worked with my partner. There, that's the easy one. Then I don't hurt anyone's feelings either.
Easy. Do you want to?
That's
I know who your
yeah.
partner is, but do you want to name your partner so that people
My
know?
my partner, yeah, his name's Stephen Merchant. He's amazing. He did a show recently called Outlaws that I was in, and being with him on set was a joy beyond joy. Seeing him in his element, and it was an absolute thrill. But yeah, that's an easy answer.
Cool. And I
Well, not
won't
really.
say that again.
I said it was easy once I figured out how to skirt around that question. That one.
I don't normally bring up people's partners, but because you did on that regard, wouldn't it be so nice to see that you can collaborate with your loved one, like knowing you've got it out the way, and then saying not only can you do it, but at a high level as well.
Oh, it
Congratulations.
is
That's
an absolute thrill, and it took us, a decade almost to do, but absolute thrill.
I'm very happy you had that. My wife, in my magical world, when I'm show running and everything, she'll be, I'll get her in the writer's room, I'll get her to do something because
Oh, that's wonderful.
she's so good at seeing like the scripts at like a macro level and just going like, no, they wouldn't say this, or you've done that on page 20. They shouldn't do that. Anyway, she's amazing in that regard. And
I think there's a reason that a lot of really great partnerships, romantic partnerships, lead to great work. I know that there's also horror stories as well, but I do think there's a reason. Like when you know someone at that level, and you're true teammates in every form, there's nothing better. Anyway, yeah, it's incredible.
I agree. And, she's a teacher. So she's not even in the space at all, but she understands me. And it sounds like you guys know each other. She knows what I'm trying to say. If I haven't got it quite the word, she goes, no, what you're actually trying to like, she can just see it.
Oh,
We're a very good team.
oh, that's beautiful.
And I'm very lucky. I'll send this to her. She'll be very happy that I brought her up so much on this chat. um, Favorite thing about yourself?
Oh, willingness to learn and grow.
If you could gain any skill in the world, which one would it be?
Any skill in the world?
Yep.
Oh gosh. Any skill in the world? Does that mean, sorry, this is rapid fire. Does
No,
that
no, no,
mean
sorry.
like job wise or like woodworking or like
What
personality?
anything the highest level of that for you?
I I'd like to be uh faster, more confident decision maker, as is evident by me at the time it took me to answer
No,
that
no, I
question.
said we'll agree to disagree. Funniest thing someone has tweeted about you or commented about you, or if anything springs to mind.
I don't read that shit.
Oh yeah, you're not on social media,
I'm
right?
on it, but I don't I mean technically, but I haven't looked in I truly don't really look. I haven't posted it in I don't know, maybe once in the last couple of years. Not that it's bad to post, but anyway, yeah, I don't tweet it, no idea. Um yeah, no idea.
And in
Why? What are
terms,
people saying?
no, 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 I haven't seen
I'm
anything.
just kidding.
Can you
Wait,
imagine
what
like,
are people
oi,
wait,
oi,
what's going on out there?
you're like, oi, vey, you should really check it out.
Oh, you're like, yikes.
And what made you decide to be not as active, especially, as an actor, apparently they look at that stuff as well.
Yeah. I'm actually going back to it, speaking of, as we speak, about to think about going back on from a work perspective. But again, it was organic. I was sort of shifting what I was doing. And I think I sort of stepped away from that and other things to have a more quiet place and figure out sort of where I was at and what I wanted, maybe. I don't know if it was conscious, but now I feel sort of armored up and ready to go.
Cool. I'm excited for
Yeah.
your journey there. It can be a fun and crazy place. We've spoken about what you've done for your mental health. What do you do for your
Mm.
physical health? And if maybe there's something you haven't spoken about for your mental health as well. What
I
do you do?
think physical is huge. Doesn't mean it has to be hardcore workouts, but moving I think is massive. It's my Prozac, it's my everything. I do it every day. So I do something every day. Again, might be a really light, sort of more restorative yoga. I box twice a week with an amazing boxing trainer who is incredible. And Pilates, something physical always. Again, doesn't mean intense, just something. Absolutely.
Brilliant. Last few. What would you do if you knew you could not fail?
Um, I would just honestly expedite everything that I'm kind of thinking and doing right now. It would be expedited probably if I felt completely safe.
And on that, what's your next big dream or goal?
Oh, take my supplements when I told myself I was going to take them. Actually do it. Stop just buying them. You have to actually take them. No, my big dream and goal. They're not big. They're little. They're little incremental things, I think. Actually. Yeah, I don't have a massive one. I want to do exactly what I'm doing, but little bit by little bit better.
Amazing. And I resonate with the supplements. I've got at least 50 unused ones. Drives my
You
wife
have to
crazy.
take them.
I know.
It's so hard to remember. Okay, just quickly, do you think sea moss actually, so I just bought sea moss yesterday. Apparently that's supposed to be good.
If
And MCT oil, chlorophyll.
yes. Do you do that as like something? My mum's a naturopath. Um,
Oh, oh, we should have just talked about that the whole
yeah, I
time. I don't
know.
know why you wasted this 80 minutes
I
on
don't think I've
me.
ever actually said, oh, I could be wrong. She doesn't talk about MCT oil, my PT does. Is that something like for the start of the day to help with your like
I guess in workouts.
yeah.
What's one thing your mom says is a
Oh,
like that you have to do a day? One thing from a
it's
naturopath.
she'll kill me. It's more that she says, look at the quality of your supplements or your vitamins or whatever you're
Yeah.
doing. Because a lot of people get very average quality stuff.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
we'll go with that. I
Okay.
think that she'll be proud of me for saying that.
Yeah, that's a good one. So it's not about taking all the things, it's about taking good things.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
um, if you could go back in time when you were first starting out, what advice would you give yourself and why?
Oh boy. Um, I would probably say go to school. Um, What advice would I? Probably that it's going to be okay. It's all going to be okay.
Great advice. Second last question. Any advice you want to give to people who want to try something different on you, but perhaps a bit fearful of doing so?
Do it. Period. Stop with the discussion, the back and forth, do it. If you're, especially if it's not hurting anyone else. Um, Although sometimes being your best self can feel hurtful to others. That's a whole nother discussion.
Yep.
But yes, come on. Honestly, we're all dying. We're all dying. Just do it. And I need to take my own advice, go for it.
You're doing it. You've already told the whole world that for the Edinburgh Fringe, you're going to have this amazing show.
Oh, shut up. Yeah, in 2030, how's that?
Next
Although
year. No
that is not
pressure,
that
but
far away.
true. No pressure, but next year. Cool. I'm glad we agreed. Last question before I ask how people can follow you and keep up to date with you. What is the one question I should have asked you?
Oh, I think your questions were incredibly thoughtful.
Thank you.
Well researched, but moreover, just very from the heart. I don't have notes on that. I think that your questions and even some of the pre-interviews that were emailed, just as like an idea of what the show was, I was really impressed with how thoughtful they were, and they made me. I took some of those questions, wrote the answers for myself that maybe I wouldn't want public, but just it made me sort of think about things. And it was such a great prompt into my own psyche and self. And I have never done that before with pre-interview questions ever. So I thought that was really impressive.
Thank you. And I'm glad that you got something from it as well.
Absolutely.
That actually, that warms my heart more than, we've had a brilliant chat, but knowing that you've been able to do that outside of the podcast. Yay, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was incredible. So anyway, so thank you.
Thank you. And before we go, now that you're back on social media, how can people follow you?
Oh gosh. What is so I think I'll probably be doing the Instagram, and nothing else. So I'll probably do that. And it is, oh my God, I think it's just my name. I think I'm not being, this sounds even fake that I think it's just Mircea. So my name is Mircea, Mircea, last name Monroe, Monroe, Mircea Monroe. I'm pretty sure it's just my name, but I'm going to check on that for future reference.
I will find it and it's in the episode notes. So people.
Oh, amazing.
Yep, people can check it out. Thank you. You are amazing. You're
Thank
inspiring. You have such a great attitude and mindset on life. And, you're the reason I do the podcast. I love these. It inspires me. I feel energized. And yeah, thank you so much.
Oh, I can't wait. I hope you get everything that you want. I think you're just such a lovely person. Yes. I really do. You're so lovely. So, yeah, I look forward to seeing something that you and your wife are working on.
I love Mircea's mindset on life. She explains how she looked within her life and in the last little while is taking note of what serves her and doesn't. I love how this is underscored by her belief that everything is always happening for a reason and ultimately everything always works out for her, even if it wasn't in the way she first thought it would go. At times we can be rigid and think we need a certain outcome, but Mircea is a great reminder that life can actually be better than we first thought, and there are learnings in everything that we do. This is a great philosophy in that it empowers one to remain positive and optimistic. I also appreciate how she's able to feel what is right. Often when we've been doing something one way, it can be hard to make a shift or even ask ourselves new questions. Mircea has prioritized creativity and what lights her up, a fast track towards enjoying a fruitful life. So I'll leave you with this epic quote. Everything happens for a reason and a purpose, and it serves you. Tony Robbins. Thank you for listening to the Funny and Failure podcast, exploring the deeper side of comedy.